Good morning and welcome to our post-Barry, or what was Barry, morning show here at the Livingston Parish News. I apologize for the camera angle this morning. We used the tripod this weekend for some coverage out and about with Barry and didn't bring it back up to the office. So you're looking up at me today instead of at me. I'll try to look down at you as we go through sort of a Barry, wouldn't call it a wrap-up, because as we get into the weather report, I'll tell you more about that. We're not quite done with the rain yet, but Barry has come through. It has now dissipated into central United States. So let's get rolling. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. We appreciate you joining us this morning. We are on social media. You're watching us on Facebook. Maybe you're watching this later on YouTube. But we are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Guys in the editorial department are sharing all sorts of good content on those platforms. Please check us out. We're also on the web, www.livingstonparishnews.com. And if you want to watch these or any one of our podcasts, which are free, www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We also have $5 a month for unlimited access to the full website. $7 if you want the e-edition, which also gives you a digital representation of our print model as well. And we are looking at traffic this morning. Relatively easy here at 7:30 a.m. Not a whole lot of delays. Minor delays after Airline on I-12 West heading into Baton Rouge. And a few delays heading into the 10-12 split. Weather today, as I said, not quite done with the rain yet. 50% chance of rain, high of 83, keeping some cooler temperatures because, it had been hot for a while. And we'll talk about why that was kind of a good thing for us here. But it looks like rain pretty much through the weekend, unfortunately. Weather and traffic provided to you by brproud.com, which is NBC 33 and WGMB Fox 44. Now, real quick, we've mentioned this in previous shows, mention it again. Currently, DirecTV and AT&T customers no longer have access to Fox 44. Please call this number, 1-800-288-2020, to express your displeasure. Reason that's important, not only do the Astros pop up on there every now and again, but if you are a Saints fan, they're on Fox, and if you have AT&T or DirecTV and they can't figure out a deal, can't watch the Saints in the fall. Can't have that. So, as mentioned, we are going to talk a lot about Barry today. We will start moving back into things, regular things like parish council and that sort of thing tomorrow. But one of the interesting things about the whole Barry deal was the fact that it was so hot and so dry leading up to the event. It was very fascinating to watch the radar. If any of you, were watching our updates or watching any kind of weather on WFB, WBRZ, or NBC, or BR Proud, you would have seen just these heavy cells of rain hit land, hit that dry air, and a lot of it would just disappear. It just become green. Now, a lot of people on Saturday were disappointed with the results of Barry, I guess you can say. And Barry heard you and came back on Sunday with a lot of high wind, a lot of heavy rain through about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. Plus, we got a little cell of rain as another band got dragged through the area last night, late, about 11:30 p.m., 12 in the morning. Rain totals anywhere from 7 to 10 inches over that time. Pushed the Amite River up from about 10 feet to 23 feet now. So a 12 feet increase, 13 feet, excuse me, over, we're talking about a foot an hour. It was very 2016-esque in the way that it rose. But it is evened out. The rain, while we will get rain over the next couple of days, it will be light. But talking about that dry air as well, where the river started is extremely important in this narrative. The Comite was desperately low. It actually needed to be refilled. It was running in places shallow. We're talking less than a foot. The Amite itself at Denham Springs was at 10 feet. It's important to note that before the 2016 flood, it was not running low. It was a little more full than that. But usually at about 10 feet, you can start seeing those sandbars. That's at the confluence of the Comeet and the Amite, which is right there on 190 as you're crossing into East Baton Rouge. So the fact that the river was running low was a good sign for Livingston Parish already. A lot of nervous folks on Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday. It's been a roller coaster of emotion. But as mentioned, Barry has moved north. But we're still in the midst of hurricane season. Some interesting facts. Over 500,000 sandbags handed out between Denham Springs, Walker, and the parish of Livingston itself. Just a ton of people really trying to get those, protect themselves. And it's very important to, remember what happened in 2016 and why a lot of people wanted to sandbag their homes. And just that they were scared. It was tough. A lot of wind damage yesterday as well. Some reported tornadoes. According to local officials, a lot of them stayed in the clouds. Still got heavy wind damage in the Watson area, as well as parts of Walker. And one was actually reported in Springfield, which was a little interesting. But there you have it. The heavy rain caused a lot of problems on the Linder, Dunn, and Duff Road areas. Those are the areas, large areas in between, north of Denham Springs, in between Lockhart Road and Kane Market. Tons and tons of people live up there. There are a lot of people on our Facebook page were commenting on those photos because the water was just so high up there. Now, when I say high, that's relative. It was 2 to 3 feet in places. But causing yard damage, people having to drive through it. A lot of complaints from those residents about the drainage there. I know road improvements, especially for Dunn, will be coming in August alongside Forest Delat as well as Buddy Ellis. So hopefully they'll do some work up there on the drainage. We're going to be following up with the parish as well as Denham and Walker. Denham activated their Emergency Operations Center for the first time, which is a result of their trip to Emmitsburg, Maryland, where they sort of went to improve their teamwork skills and disaster response methods. So we'll be talking to them about what worked, what didn't, how glad I guess they are that they got this kind of dry run without having to truly jump into the midst of it. We'll be talking to the parish about the disaster declaration, what kind of final damages are rolling in as they try to get compensation for those things and move on. Again, please remember that Barry isn't quite done. We're still going to get some rain, and it's expected to rain for the next week, really, through the week. Hopefully those, all of our canals, ditches, bayous, and rivers drain a little bit. So that we can, have low water because we are still 8 weeks out from hurricane season being over. Another interesting thing about hurricanes now here is that we are technically coastal because of saltwater intrusion and some other things into Lake Pontchartrain and into Lake Maurepas. We are now considered a coastal community. That has pluses and minuses, of course. The saltwater has affected those ecosystems down there, changing them. It is a negative way if you consider the freshwater the better of the two, but it's just part of the way nature works. But it has opened it up for grants. But what it does change in the event of these storms is whenever you hear storm surge, okay, that can affect Lake Maurepas. And when that affects Lake Maurepas, when the Tickfall River and the Amite River try to drain into it, if storm surge is high, they can't, or they at least run into resistance as the lake pushes back because of that storm surge. So that's an interesting thing to note as we move forward. That's why it was so important when the National Weather Service removed Lake Maurepas from the storm surge warning. That was good news for Livingston Parish because that means that the rivers could drain easier. Again, we are on social media: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We appreciate you joining us for today. We're going to give you one last wrap on your traffic, which hasn't changed much. Delays have backed up more to the east from airline now, and delays after the 10-12 split. Your weather, again, 83 degrees is your high today. Scattered thunderstorms, 50% chance, and you're looking at a 50% chance or greater moving through the end of the week into next week. We'd like to thank brproud.com, which is NBCW VLA 33, and WGMB Fox 44 for the weather and the traffic report. Like I said, we talked a lot about Barry today. We'll start easing off of Barry tomorrow and bringing some other stuff up. I do also want to mention that while Barry did sort of delay the results, we had a poll running about whether or not the show should be in the morning and the afternoon. The afternoon folks did win. So probably starting Thursday, this morning show will be moved to the afternoon. If you've got a comment or a concern or an issue with that, please leave a comment on this live video or on a video later, or you can email us, drew@lpn1898.com. Thanks again for joining us for this post-Barry show, and we will come at you tomorrow, Tuesday morning. Oh, and please don't let me forget, we have a special guest Wednesday for the morning show, and he and I will be doing a full deep dive podcast on the parish council. Parish Councilman Tracy Girlinghouse, who represents a lot of the Walker area, will be here on Wednesday. We look forward to that. Thank you again. We'll talk to you later.